Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. In this video I've set myself a little challenge, and that's to try and get a Victory Royale with only eliminations using the Magneto gauntlets. I've done something similar in the past where I've challenged myself to become the Avatar, only using the 4 elements. So if you haven't checked that video out, there's a link in the description for you. But yeah, without wasting any more time, let's get into it. Okay, so the first location we're going to go is the location where there is a 100% spawn rate of the gauntlets. Now, one problem with landing in this location is that other people are trying to get the gauntlets as well. If you were playing when the Avatar Battle Pass was available, it would be a nightmare getting the water bending scroll from the shrine, especially when there was a quest for a specific scroll. You would sometimes have 5 or 10 people in the same location and it was literally a free-for-all. Now just quickly checking my surroundings to see if there's anyone about. Now the first place I'm going to go is to this NPC down here. Now every time I've gone to this Magneto, he has always had the gauntlets. Not too sure if it's the same for everyone else, but just buy him for 400 gold, because let's be honest, what else are you using gold for this season?
He's got a point.
Now I'm just going around picking up some potions and restoring my shield. Now usually when I play a game I get into the habit of trying to find some gauntlets and a shotgun, because I find they go well together, but because I'm using the Magneto gauntlets this game, I won't be using a shotgun, and hopefully I can find myself a pair of gauntlets just for movement. Also, I don't know why I picked up the cabbages. I'm not the cabbage man from the Avatar.
My cabbages!
Now after going around and literally finding no one, it's time to head off. Now going around in the car, I noticed some gunfire in the distance, so I'm going to head over and see what that's about. Now I've noticed someone with one of those scanning NPCs, so I've got to be a little bit careful. Luckily they had their sights on the enemy in the distance, so I was able to get a few shots in from behind. Also, I noticed someone on the hill, so I targeted them next. I noticed I couldn't quite get the angle for where I was, so I went up and finished them off myself. Now some key points with gloves are that you can block bullets with the shield you can put up to a certain point until the shield breaks. The boulders do 95 damage a piece and replenish over time. Also, while you have the gloves equipped, you don't take any fall damage. Now I noticed some more gunfire from the distance, so I went over to see what that was about. Eliminated the first enemy and then found that the second enemy was proven difficult because they were hiding behind the speed ramp. Now I noticed I was taking some damage from the side, so I sprinted off and took some cover because the shield only blocks you from the front and not the side. Now I noticed they started to run off, so I took this opportunity to finish off the enemy to the right, but noticed they were proven difficult to kill because they decided to hide in the steel cage that was underneath the ramp. So I decided to approach them and then go into the steel cage and finish them off. Again, I noticed some gunfire in the distance, so I got into a car and I went to see what was happening. Finding opponents that are fighting each other are basically easy kills because they're not focused on you. Luckily they didn't have a lot of health, so it was 2 easy kills for the collection. Also I noticed someone dropped those gloves, which will help me really well with this Victory Royale. Now as I was driving off I noticed some footsteps, so I decided to get my car and use my gauntlets for movement and my gloves for a kill. I noticed they started to hide behind the boulder, so I used my gauntlets for some distance and the gloves to try and finish them off. In the distance I heard a vehicle, so tactically I decided to retreat because taking on 2 enemies would have been difficult. As I was healing up I got sniped from somewhere from the left, so I went around a boulder to finish off my healing. I noticed some footprints approaching, so I wasn't in a condition to fight, so I decided to retreat, get into a car and go to a different location. Now what I found when using the gloves is that they're quite good for long range attacks, they're easy to pick off people and they do high damage, but when you're dealing with someone who is close range, it can be quite difficult to kill him, especially if you don't land your hit. This is because in between shots you are vulnerable to getting hit, and if the enemy has good aim and you miss your shots, it's basically a one-way ticket back to the lobby. So when I do use these gloves, I think tactically and I try to pick them off from a distance, and if I feel like I can't kill the target, then I make a retreat. Now after driving around for a little bit, I noticed some more gunfire in the distance, so I went to approach to see what was going on and get my next kill. Unfortunately they were a bit too far from me and they went over the hill, so I decided to get back in my car, only because there was a car to my left and I didn't want to get flanked. And ended up crashing my car, flipping my car, and then getting stuck because I have terrible driving. After a lot more driving, I noticed my next target. Now they were just on the hill by themselves, so this was going to be an easy kill. Got out of my car and then I picked them off from a distance. Here's me trying to Tokyo drift a set of bulletproof tyres and failing. Now after driving around for some more, I noticed some footsteps to my left, but I did notice they were up in that little building, which would have been quite difficult to pick them off with my gloves. Now the plan was to drive around and try to lure them out of the building to pick them off a little bit easier, then finish them off again from a distance. Now with 10 people left and 8 kills, I felt quite good about myself, but I knew I still had a long way to go. Driving around some more, I noticed some footsteps. Now these footsteps were in the bunker, and I knew if I went in there they would have just shanked me with a shotgun or something, so I decided best not to go in there, and hopefully they came out. Now I had a strong feeling they were peeping around the corner waiting for me to go into the bunker, so I decided best not to, and I drove on. Driving around some more, I noticed some gunfire against my car, so I swiveled round and I went to see what was going on. I noticed them in the distance, so I picked them off and got myself my next kill. Now because I'm a Fortnite veteran, I knew there were some slurp barrels in this building, so I decided to get out and replenish my shield, because every little helps. And as I was getting back into my car, there was some more gunfire. I noticed they were by themselves, so again, another easy kill. Got back into my car, drove around some more, noticed some more gunfire in the distance, and decided to pick this person off. I'm pretty sure half these players are bots, but that is beside the point. I'm still getting my kills. Now with only 3 people remaining, it's been pretty smooth sailing until now, but I knew that the challenge was going to be a little bit more difficult because there was still a medallion player in the game. And medallion players scare me. Now tactically I had to think about where I needed to go because I was only using the gloves and they have their disadvantages. There was still a medallion player in the game and I had to think about where I needed to set myself in order to get myself a victory. Now usually when I get this late into the game, I let the other players try to eliminate each other, and then when it's just me and someone else, try and get the victory. So that is what I tried to do here. But then I couldn't help myself, the medallions have dropped, the enemy had been eliminated, so I decided to speed up the mountain and try to get them for myself. Upon reaching the top of the mountain, I did notice an enemy. Now I was just about to get out, but they decided to get into my car, so I had to think about what to do. I had an idea to drive the car down the mountain and then get out and pick up the medallion for myself, but I think the player picked it up before me, so I tried to get away with my gauntlets. I used the gloves by accident. I wanted to get some distance between me and the enemy and then again pick him off from a distance. Managed to get a nice hit in, but then noticed the enemy had a pair of gloves as well. I noticed for the first time that gloves against gloves do not protect you from damage. I got myself another nice hit in, noticed their health was white, which means they only needed one more hit and then they would have been eliminated. Now with only me and one more person in the game, I took the risk of going up the mountain and trying to get the medallions for myself. I felt like this will give me an advantage with winning the game. The worst part was the realization that I was on a mountain and the mountain had a slope and the medallion had sloped all the way to the bottom. Also, the storm was coming in, so I had to be really quick, so I didn't have to take any storm damage. Luckily, I managed to pick up the battalions as I was sliding down. Also, lucky enough to have the gloves, which meant I could go back up the mountain with them and then through the storm to stop taking any more damage. I realised I had enough time to pop a shield potion and a medic kit to replenish my shield and health. I just wanted to be fully prepared before I exit the storm and try to eliminate the last player. With exiting the storm, my next objective was getting back into the ring and find this last enemy. Again, I wanted to keep my distance, and because I did have the nitro medallion, this did help a lot with my movement and I could get places a lot quicker. I decided to replenish the rest of my health because it's better to be safe than sorry. Now the enemy was fairly close and they knew where I was because they tried to shoot a crossbow bolt, I believe, at me, so I put my shield up and surveyed the area. I did use this tree as cover and peeked around it, but then I noticed there was higher ground, and obviously higher ground is better.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
So I went up and I surveyed the area from up here, again keeping an eye on the ring to make sure it didn't close in on me. Now personally, positioning yourself is really key, especially late game, because the last thing you want to do, especially late game, is to take storm damage because you haven't positioned yourself very well, and then you have to try to avoid the storm, get back into the ring, and avoid the enemies that could be attacking you at the same time. So what I tried to do is position myself, look at the ring, look at the white circle on the map, and try to lure them out towards you, because 9 times out of 10 they haven't positioned themselves very well and you could get yourself an easy kill. So the next circle has just moved to the other side of the area, as you can see on the map. So what I want to do is position myself as close to that circle as possible. With every circle closure, you take more damage from the storm. So at the moment, if I was in the storm, I think I would take 10 health per tick. So you want to try to avoid that as best as you can. Now with the storm closing, and I still can't see the enemy, so I feel like they're hiding and slowly making their way towards me from the outer rim of the storm. So again, I had my shield up and I was still looking around for them. I was using these rocks as cover to protect myself and still peek around the corners to see if I could find the enemy. Finally, I did notice them in the distance by the tree, so now I knew where they were. I made my way towards them. I moved away from the ring, otherwise I would have taken damage. I still kept my distance. I put my shield up to protect myself from their attacks. I put it up every time they shot and then tried to shoot them in between reloads. I didn't want to be in the water because that would have been a bad spot for getting hit, so I got out, hid behind the rock, and I finally went for it. So yeah, that's basically it. I did manage to get myself a Victory Royale only using the Magneto Gloves. Now a lot of stuff could have changed, could have been different in this video. There could have been more boss cars, there could have been more medallions out in play, stuff like that. But I'm just happy that I got myself a Royale only using the gloves, and the amount of kills I got wasn't too bad either, even though I was picking them off from a distance, but hey, that was just my strategy. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will try my best to answer, and I will see you in the next one.